What's the haps? I'm John, aka Meroka, and welcome to Spiel. I'm in Ruby Rook this week, which is slimy, mostly. It's a weird kind of gate formula, which, yeah, see, like wolves already. I spent a while looking at the gate map trying to figure out exactly what the stratum was actually supposed to be, because it's like, I guess it's slime, but there's a lot of other stuff in here. This is supposed to be like a slime way, so I was kind of expecting slimes, and now wolves. Why not? Why not wolves? Sure. Okay. Good work, game. Let me kick things off this week with Spiral Knights news. Yeah. Just because apparently I'm a massive derp and I missed things. Whoops. I guess there's a major event going on and I didn't know about it. And whoopsie. Yeah, if I bring up the news tab is like here. Come on. Load the thing. Oh, they don't even put it on there. Wow. Oh, okay. Sure. Well, yeah, you know how I've always said Three Rings are really, really bad at promoting the important things? Yeah. The torture drones are back. And I didn't know they were back. And they've been back for like a week now. And it's only just dawned on me. Someone was like, hey, have you got any new guns? I was like, well, I got the Wildfire. Oh, you're talking about something entirely else, aren't you? What the heck have I missed? Oh, right, yeah, torture drones. Yeah. Normally when there's an event, whether I know about it or not, I mean, a lot of the time I will pick up on it, because Three Rings usually at least post it on Facebook and Twitter and stuff, and I will spot it on one of the two. Or I will check the website. Sometimes I will check the website, you know. Even regardless of that, usually I will get 2 or 3 people will probably message me and say, hey, by the way, there is a thing happening, go check out the thing that is happening because you probably want to make a video about it. And I'll be like, yes, I probably do, thank you for telling me, that is useful information. Nobody did this week. Not a single person was like, hey, check out the torture drones are back, aren't they fun, torture drones are fun, go check out the torture drones. Either nobody cares about torture drones, or a worrying amount of the people who used to play the game and keep me informed about the latest updates in the game are not playing the game anymore, or I don't know what the sitch is there, but it was a little bit strange. So yes, torture drones are back. I'm not immediately aware that it's any different to the last time they've been around, which basically means it's a really good way for you to throw a lot of sparks of life at a really hard boss in exchange for a few tokens that will eventually result in your getting a gun that I don't entirely rate and a shield that's not the best either. They're kind of cool. I mean, don't get me wrong, the weapons are very cool looking, but I have never found myself wanting to use the gun. So some people, I guess, do seem to quite like the gun, but at the same time, it's awkward to shoot, and then the charge attack is almost entirely useless because it takes so long to do anything, and then the hit pattern's kind of random. And ultimately, yeah, the ultimate upshot of that is, well, but most of the things you're shooting at have generally sort of just walked out the way by the time anything lands. You fire a bunch of shots into the air, and then about 20 seconds later, all the enemies are now probably behind you, and the bullets land harmlessly nowhere near the enemies. So yeah, I can't say I'm a big fan of the guns, and the shields, they have a really, really cool shield bash animation. They got a really cool shield bash animation, but they've all got a movement speed decrease on them, so they're generally probably not as good as the shields that don't have a movement speed decrease on them. So yeah. Most people who are into actually, you know, running the numbers and stuff, I believe they went through this on the Arsenal podcast back when the Arsenal podcast was still a thing. They were like, oh yeah, we've done the numbers and stick with the ones you are already using, guys. So, torture drones, they're a thing. They're back, I guess. I guess they're not of interest. I guess everyone's already made all the things that they wanted for them, maybe. Maybe that is it. So with stuff like Apocrypha, they've added lots and lots of grind for rare and exotic items. In this, it's less of a grind for nothing cosmetic and exciting and interesting, but a lot of stuff that's sort of, I guess, just sort of average weapons and equipment and stuff, so yeah, I don't know, maybe it's less of an interesting thing now that we've seen it. Is this the third? I think this is the third time it's come around now, so yeah, there's been plenty of opportunity to get that, but that is there till... I've missed a switch. That is there till March 23rd if you're still wanting to experience the torture drone goodness. So, yeah, that's there. Oh, god damn it. No, not quite enough time to get across. Can I hit you? I don't need to hit you. We shall do, I've been meaning to mention this. This happened last week and I totally forgot to mention this, so I should probably mention this now, is that my friends list is full. I've pruned it a bunch of times to try and make space for people wanting to add me all the time. Short of pruning it further, and I guess I could, at some point I'm going to have to turn around and say, no more friends on my friends list in Spiral Knights. I cannot hold all these friends. What am I doing with these friends? There are too many of them. And it's kind of reaching that point, so I've got a bunch of people saying, hey, add me, hey, add me, hey, add me, in my inbox at the minute, and I'm like, I can't add you. I physically, fundamentally can't. My list is full. So, sorry if you're still waiting on me to accept your friend invite. It's not that I'm like, you smell or anything. It's more a kind of an issue of, I literally cannot add you. I mean, last time I went through I was like, oh, anybody who hasn't logged on the game within, in the last 6 months is removed, you know. If you 6 months or older accounts, I'm assuming to be dead. I don't know whether I need to make that like 3 or something, or I need to draw the line of like, oh, anybody who hasn't logged in the game in the last 3 months, you're going to have to go. I don't know. It's I don't know. It's getting silly, is what it is. So yeah, sorry if I haven't added you. Nothing personal. You can always talk to me in the comments. Talk to me in the comments. That's fun. Because that way you can ask me questions and I will talk about them and I will give you shout-outs and things and everyone will be happy and wonderful. So that'll be good. So yeah, why don't you do that? So yeah, that's something I've been meaning to point out for a little while now, and it's now been a couple weeks since that's been full, and I should probably point that one out to you guys. I mentioned I've rambled for a little bit about keyboards for a while, so I guess I will state my conclusion with that one, which is the ducky one is still kind of derpy, and I don't know, it's less derpy than it used to be. I have a feeling it will fix itself in time as the beer that I spilled on it long ago eventually reaches some sort of state of non-stickiness and stops sticking my keys. I don't know. But it's still not 100% perfect, and last thing I want while I'm running around in the Clockworks or whatever the heck I happen to be playing is for my A, S, and D keys to suddenly go, nope, not working. So I'm using the Logitech. One thing I do like about the Logitech is that it does have a stopwatch on the keyboard, of all things. It genuinely has a stopwatch. So that's useful for doing stuff like Indie Insight, where I'm normally recording for 15 minutes and 15 minutes only. I'm like, oh, I can just do it on my keyboard without faffing around with my phone. That's kind of neat. I like that. I guess I haven't used my shield at all yet today, and I've just dawned on me. The control key is kind of awkwardly placed on the Logitech. It's further down the keyboard, I feel like, than I'm used to pressing. It feels like I have to really stretch my pinky finger to hit the control to use my shield, much more than I ever used to have to do with the Ducky or the Mac keyboards. So, I don't know. I'm just going to be less defensive, I guess, because I'm such a brilliant strategician, I don't know, and I'm used to using my shields effectively and capably in combat, right? Yeah, okay. I think I'll just run around and shoot things with a fireball like usual. Other news, personal news is that, well, not that long ago, about a month ago, I was like, hey everyone, you guys, I got a new job, and I really like the new job, and it is fun, and it's cool. It's giving me a weird schedule, but I really like the job. For reasons I've been unable to fathom, and they're not really honestly giving me a lot of feedback on it, they've decided to let me go, so, I don't know. I have, like, the worst luck with jobs. I seem to end up with just people who are like, yeah, we want to hire you, but we don't really want to hire you because, I don't know, and I never get any good reasons or explanations for any of this, and it's starting to get kind of annoying. But ultimate upshot is that I'm back doing the YouTubes full-time for the 3rd time. Hooray! I mean, I guess that's good news for you guys, but god damn it, I wouldn't mind some income at some point in my life. It'd be really nice to be earning some money. Some stage. Jeez. But hey, what can you do? What can you do? Not a lot. So, I shall work on getting the contents for you, more of the contents. I've also been prodding the landlord further about trying to get that goddamn internet sorted, because I said back just shortly after New Year's I wanted to get fiber optic internet in so that I could do live streaming and further video content and just generally be better about getting stuff up onto the internet for you guys to watch. And honestly, I don't think he's done anything. I genuinely don't think he's actually done anything yet, so I'm prodding him further to say, hey, can you make the things happen? That was an eternal orb. Sweet. Yes. Those are good for making things when 3 Rings actually adds content that I'm going to be making. Actually, that said, I still need that. I still do need my 5-star mercurial coat, so hey, I guess I need some eternal orbs at some point. Cool, so that's all the gaming and personal news. Let's do the questionnaires. Because I've been asking you for a couple of weeks now, a couple of episodes now. Please send me questions so that I may answer them for you, because I was running a little short. I don't have loads of questions, but I have some questions, so definitely keep them coming, guys, because I do need more stuff to talk about. I feel like a lot of stuff is kind of treading roughly a very similar kind of territory. It's mostly sort of interplanetary, interstellar travel kind of stuff, and I'm kind of okay with that, but there are other fields of science. And one of the questions I got today is that same field, but I'm putting that bottom of the list before we get to the other stuff. This is slimes, isn't it? So I'm probably okay. Yep. Okay. So, Shadorian, before I summon any slimes, I'm going to read it out, says, this isn't exactly new stuff, but what's your opinion on Soylent, the liquid food? Could it positively affect people with low income and the food industry in general, or will it quietly sputter out like all those other revolutionary inventions? Soylent, I have heard of this. I recall seeing this somewhere on the internet. Someone posted this, probably on Reddit. And I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. This is one of those things that from time to time you get people who are like, most of the animals we just kind of feed the same thing every day, and presumably those are kind of most of the nutrients and ingredients and things that are needed to make an animal happy. Why do humans not do this? It's kind of the idea that we go to great efforts, time and length to eat a interesting variety of foods and have different meals cooked every time, every day, and we do things, and it's like, can we not just like make one food that we could just live off forever? Why is that not a thing? And then, even more occasionally, you get someone who decides that they actually want to do that. These are those people. These are the people that have decided that, you know what, actually, what we really want is to make food, want to make basically some kind of slop that it contains all the things a growing human needs. And ultimately, in theory, you should never ever need to eat anything else ever again. That's the theory. I've heard of people sort of experimentally testing that before. There was a story I recall reading. I don't know where the heck I got it, but I saw a story a while back. Some guy who basically it wasn't like a product he'd made. He basically just taken it upon himself to kind of try to figure out exactly what he would need to ingest on a daily basis, and had created like his own personal recipe, and he did just live off this goop. He had created a nutrient soup, a goopy kind of thing, and he would drink it for every meal. And I think one of the interesting upshots of doing that is that a person on this kind of diet only ever needs to poop once every 6 months, and then there's not much, which is like, that's really weird. But if you consider that you're basically doing away with everything the body could ever not use, and just saying, hey, all we're going to ingest is all the stuff, exactly what your body needs to work. It's like, well, then there's nothing left over to get rid of. I gather that's not particularly great for your digestive system. I think if you were to commit to doing that, the idea is that you would probably have to, if you're going to commit to it, you would really have to commit to it, because your digestive system wouldn't like handling food ever again if you sort of did that long term. In the short term, I guess you could do stuff and sort of experimentally, and I believe Soylent were like, yeah, you can mix this with a diet, or you can live off it. They were pretty chill about it, so when you look on the website and read the description, they're like, yeah, you can sort of have a normal meal, or you can just have Soylent for breakfast, or you could just have Soylent for dinner. Either way, and it replaces all 3 meals every day, and it does exactly what you need it to, as long as you drink exactly the right amount each day. That's exactly what you'll ever need. You could mix it with other things if you want more variety in your diet, or you can just drink it if you just want to be, pretty much lazy. So, you got options there. Is it aimed at people with low income? I could see how it... I think with refinement and mass production and sort of, you know, improving the supply chain and things, potentially it could be, but as I seem to recall, Soylent was not massively... It wasn't overpriced, but it's more than I would normally be prepared to pay for a meal, if memory serves. So I was looking at it, I was like, you know what, I wouldn't object to trying to do that just to see what life was like doing that. And the prices on it were just like, it's not... They aren't exorbitant prices, it's just more than I would normally pay for food. Certainly home-cooked food, you know. It's like, if I'm going to sit here and drink slop in my bedroom and that's called a meal, I ain't paying that much, let's be honest. So I don't think it's really aimed at that. I think it's more aimed at... I think it's aimed at the kind of people who want more free time in their day. 24 hours is a very limiting time frame to do things during the day, and why would you spend some of your free time? That productive time is money, right? Or your free productive time, that's free productive money that you could be making with that time. Why would you spend that cooking food when you could just spend like 30 seconds adding water to powder, turn it into a kind of slop, ingest the slop in about 30 seconds, and go about your day, because that's the entirety of your dinner for the day. That's it. You have eaten your major meal. It was a bottle of slop. Delicious slop. I don't think they put any flavour in it. I'm not sure whether they put flavour in it or not. Because that would then be... That would be unnecessary ingredients, potentially. I don't know. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure what it tastes like. I'm intrigued. Don't get me wrong, I'm very intrigued, but... Yeah, it seems more sort of aimed at your high-powered people who are like, no, I need that extra hour in my day. I don't even want to have to sit and spend my evenings cooking meals for me to eat so that I may sustain my life. What I need is a bottle of slop that will do the job for me. And yeah, I'm pretty sure that's your demographic. That's your target demographic at this stage. Yeah. I guess, like I say, if you reduce the cost, it could. If you could make it readily and cheaply available, that would be good. Because, I mean, general consensus is that actually a lot of people who are not well off generally don't tend to eat well anyway. And it generally tends to have pretty poor diets and end up being overweight or just badly nourished, malnourished, or whatever, you know. It's because cheap food is very, very, very rarely good food. So if you manage to make it affordable, I think that could do wonders for the underprivileged people of the world, because, well, hey, now they would have a readily affordable way of having all their nutrient needs. So I don't think you could ever quite get around the issue of it being really bad for your digestive system to do that in the long run, because our bodies just aren't geared up to just drink goop as a meal for every meal. Our bodies have evolved and been, you know, they have adapted over time to eat solid food. That's how we came to be in this world. It's how we've been doing it for millennia. And to suddenly turn around and say, hey, my body is only going to eat some weird goop now. Suddenly your body's like, wait, what are you doing? This is not good. They could adapt to deal with liquid, I guess, like I say, people can and have, but then it's also really, really hard to go back to solid food, so yeah, it's kind of a weird kind of situation to be in. It really is. So, use caution, exercise caution if you're planning to drink Soylent in the long term, I guess, is my advice that I have for you here today on the ingesting of Soylent. Yeah. Okay. What else do we have? We have Altispinax5225 says, what's your take on the fact that we've never seen any extraterrestrial intelligent life? I've seen some stuff that's ranged from aliens from other planets making a sort of law or code where no contact is established to a species not in a certain criteria, to humans simply being uninteresting, making aliens avoiders, to aliens simply not existing and us being the only intelligent life. I myself sort of believe in the first possibility, but there are other options as well. Okay, I think it's just incredibly unlikely that our existence in the galaxy would overlap with any other one. I mean, I don't care how boring a species is, we're still an alien species to them. Oops, let's get some relevant equipment on here, definitely. We got a lot of undead coming my way, so Paladin I think is up. Although Paladin should probably come with a wildfire. Oh man, could really use some piercing. Do I need piercing? I don't think I need piercing. No, it's a graveyard, isn't it? So this is a graveyard, right? It looks like a graveyard. Looks like a graveyard. Smells like a graveyard. It's definitely a graveyard. So I'm pretty much just going to be fighting zombies. So all I need is elementals. So I should be all right. I was just more concerned about getting my things heated. I was slowly, very, very slowly working on heating that thing up, so I'll take that as well. Not really relevant or effective equipment here, but I need it heated, so yeah. So yes, I think regardless of how uninteresting we might be as a species to an alien race, I think any alien race would be interesting enough to at least make some kind of contact. Could you imagine any alien race, any kind of life form of any sort on any other planet, anywhere in the universe, that we wouldn't go, oh my god, it's alien life. This is the most interesting thing we've ever found in space, let us examine it further. Do you really think any alien would just go, yeah, well, we found these things, and they've built an entire civilization, and they've sort of automated vehicles, and they've even been into space themselves a bit. It's not a lot, but they have been into space a bit, but I mean, they're not really very interesting. Yeah, we probably won't bother actually making contact with them or, you know, examining them further. No, it's not worth our time. I couldn't see that happening. Some kind of law? I don't know, I guess so, but I'm struggling to think of the circumstances that would surround that. It's kind of a weird one. Mainly I do... Where the heck are all the zombies here? There they are. Mainly I'm just kind of feeling like, if you think about how long life has been around on Earth, we've been around for a few... Oh god, how long has life been around on Earth? A few billion years? A couple of billion years? I'm not sure how many billions... If it is billions. Is it billions? I think it's billions. Definitely a long time. I think it's billions. Humanity itself has only been around for about 2 million years, I think is about the figure on humanity. You know, Homo sapiens and whatnot been around on the planet. Of those 2 million years, we've only been really making any kind of noise that would be detectable to an outside source, you know, electromagnetic radiation, radio waves, even light if you really wanted. We're not emitting any kind of light, or much light, or electromagnetic... Like I said, you saw your main communications are kind of going to be the main thing you'd be picking up on. It's the sort of thing SETI's looking for with alien races. They're scanning for other people broadcasting other stuff. Those are things you'd pick up on. And we've only been doing that for... I don't know, a century or so? Maybe a little more. There's really not a lot for aliens to pick up on to actually find us. So, and hey, we're already well on the way to wiping ourselves out as a civilization as well. So, actual time frame from humanity being in a state where it can make contact with aliens to ultimately no longer existing, you're sort of looking at a time frame of... let's be really generous and say about 500 years. That's assuming we'll be around for 300 to 400 years more, and haven't managed to completely and utterly obliterate ourselves and pollute and overheat our planet to the point of destruction. So, yeah, okay. So, I mean, hey, things might go well, but if we assume that we're taking a sort of a fairly average path for a civilization, what's to say that any intelligent alien race hasn't done something fairly similar? If any sentient race were to arise in the universe, what's to say that they would also then, you know, not wipe themselves out within the space of about 500 years. You're also then kind of assuming that any sentient races are actually spacefaring as well. Any other race has to become sufficiently advanced that they could make, at the bare minimum, interstellar travel, not to say nothing of potentially intergalactic travel, which is quite the hurdle. We've been over this on many occasions in the past sort of 17 episodes. Yeah, we've been over that. We've been over that at great length at this stage. We've discussed the particular hurdles involved with interstellar travel. So, yeah, you have to be a pretty advanced civilization, and you need to get there without having, you know, annihilated yourself somehow. And like I say, you've got a very small time frame there. Those aliens need to catch us within sort of about those 500 years before we annihilate ourselves. I mean, yes, if two sentient races manage to arise and live and prosper for... I was gonna say, I'm even thinking in terms of like Isaac Asimov's Foundation series, which was talking on timescales of humanity within tens of thousands of years. Even that's still kind of a drop in the ocean. That we're talking a few tens of thousand years before humanity dominates the galaxy. And okay, I guess if a race is dominating the galaxy, they'd probably run into other ones sooner or later if there was anything out there. But at the same time, ouch, that was nasty. I can't use it. Cursed both my weapons. Oh god. That's not good. I can't fight anything now. At the same time, 10,000 years, when we're talking about a race that has, you know, actually existed for 2 million years, we haven't been, even if we're around for 10,000 years to come, that's still not very long on sort of the interstellar stage, as it were. It's a tiny, tiny fraction of the total time we've been around. It's a microscopic fraction of the total time life in any form has been around on this planet alone, and it's a absolutely infinitesimal, microscopic, barely noteworthy in the slightest dot in the time that even our planet has been around, much less the entire galaxy, the universe has been around. So the actual odds of two sentient life forms coming to actually interact with each other in one way or another, with all these factors at play, working against each other, the odds are shrinkingly low, is I think what that kind of works out at. There's just not a particularly good chance of it happening in my book. You never know. Could do, but I don't think the odds are likely. I don't think they're in our favour. So that is my thoughts on that particular one. Second question, a fun one, because why not? Have you met anyone in Spiral Knights that seemed rude or unhelpful? Just recently, while going through a slime compound for a... Whoop, watch where I'm walking. Going through a slime compound for a mission. Step through here. Someone joined up with me. He was a great bomber, something I rarely see. I had some respect for him. When he died, he didn't ask for a revive, didn't wait until the next step. He simply quit. The only thing he said during the whole mission was a hi at the start, and he left me at the end of the compound trying to find the buttons. That's not... I don't know. I can say I entirely likely have been guilty of that myself. I mean... the rudest players for me are the people who just sort of sit there and demand revives for me. Someone who's like, oh, I have died and I've got no way of getting up, or I don't particularly care to pay the price to get up, therefore I shall stop being a burden on your party and I shall leave. I don't know, I tend to think of that as being a more respectful thing, and I will say I've probably done that myself. I'm sure you're very well aware I'm not very talkative in groups, so... I'm the kind of person who probably would just say hi at the start of a party and just sort of get on and do the job and play the level. And if I died and I was like, well, this, you know, it's just like, I died stupidly to something stupid on a level that's not worth spending a spark on, so I'm just going to leave and go home now. It's like, I don't want to cost you a spark, I don't want to cost me a spark, I'm just going to leave. So I think chances are I probably have done that particular scenario myself in the past. I apologize if that was interpreted as rude by anyone. So my personal standpoint is that was more of a respectful thing to do. As long as you're laying there on the floor, the game is saying, oh, you've got more people in the party, let's turn up the difficulty, let's give everything more health. Whereas, you know, if that person leaves, everything suddenly has a little bit less health and everything is a bit more manageable. Which, to me, is like, well, if you're not actually helping, I'd rather you weren't artificially boosting the difficulty of this particular group, quite frankly. So that's my particular stance on that one. It's, yeah, the kind of people who really annoy me in game are the sort of ones who just die and just lay on the floor. It's like, well, I don't have any sparks. And it's like, so you were just, you, especially if it's a hard mission, especially if you're doing something like a danger mission or, god damn it, ouch, ouch, ouch. If you're doing a danger mission or something and someone just dies and lays there and is just like, I'm not going to get up, I didn't bring any sparks. And it's like, you knew it was a hard mission, why didn't you bring any sparks? Because I don't have any. Well, didn't you not think it was a really silly thing to tackle one of the hardest missions in the game without having any extra lives? That seems like a really reckless and irresponsible thing to do. And then just sort of assume that you're going to pick them up? I'm sorry, since when was I your mother? No. No, I'm not going to do that. I mean... Hell, the one that got me kicked out of Dark Hearts, the guild, a while back was one of the officers. It was doing... which was it? It's a Grinchland Assault, which is widely regarded as quite possibly the hardest mission in the game. I don't know, there's a lot of tough ones these days, but that's definitely up there as quite possibly one of the worst. And he died, like, in the first room and just laid on the floor and was... yeah, that was just rude. That was just very, very rude. It's like, no. This is a long and very difficult mission. You didn't bring a single spark and you're expecting me to basically pay your tab. You're going to die again because you died in the first room. There's no way that you're going to get through the rest of this mission without dying. And you're expecting me to pay for all of them? No. And I happened to mention this story in a video, and the officer saw it and then kicked me from the guild for having the sheer audacity to declare that he was rather rude about all this particular nonsense. So, nuts to that guy, hey. So that is why definitely my one big pet peeve about Spiral Knights players. If anyone does that, I have very little time for you, I'm afraid. I don't know, so some people are like, oh, but I spent it all on my younger sibling or girlfriend or whatever who was playing the game but not quite as adept at it, and they died a lot, and I you know, I care for them, so I spent my sparks on them. It's like, I guess, but I've been hearing that sob story a lot. Sorry, no offense. I'm sure it's genuinely true for a lot of people, but I have heard that sob story more than a few times. It's like, oh, I used all my sparks on this person who I care deeply for, and now I have no sparks to save myself. It's like, this may be true, but I would still prefer that you brought at least a small amount onto the hard missions with you. Please do that. Because it's just kind of rude for you just to sort of expect random strangers. It's in the majority of instances, I am a random stranger to these people, you know. If you're just going to expect a random stranger to foot the bill for your own incompetence, no, don't do it. Don't do it. Just don't. So yeah, that's that. We've got one more question, and it's about space. I don't know if I got the time for it. I think this will be the last room in the thing, so maybe I should just ramble for a bit. So, how are you guys? You guys all good? Everyone okay? Everyone happy? You got any good questions for me? If you got any good questions, you could leave them in the comments. Please do that. Also, let me know what you're thinking of PAX week, because I am doing a week of, well, I'm doing Monday to Friday this week, with the exception of this, obviously. I'm doing PAX-based content, which is just games I found at PAX, and I'm kind of annoyed at myself for doing it, because I am sort of interrupting a bunch of series that I was sort of in the middle. I got halfway through a video, but it was a really long video, so I cut it into 2 bits, or more in one case. And ultimately, the upshot is that those bits aren't going to get concluded for like a good few days, and now I'm like, god damn it, I shouldn't have done this. I really shouldn't have done this. But I also, if I don't do this now, when the heck am I going to get this PAX content out? And it is something I like to do. After PAX, I come back and I've found out about a bunch of new games, and I want to share them with you guys. So, yes, Valhalla PAX demo is super cool and has Metal Gear Corgi. Black Ice is crazy good. I did inadvertently describe it as being a roguelike, and I've been playing it for like 6 hours today. I don't think it is a roguelike. I've died a lot. It just lets you carry on. Joe Mirabello pitched that game to me as a roguelike, and in the video I made of it, I described it as a roguelike. I have found very little to actually sell that game to me as a roguelike. There is a permadeath option that you can toggle on in the options. That doesn't make it, I guess that makes it play a little bit like a roguelike, but it's not really, so I don't know. It's still kind of cool though, so that's the thing. So yes, there'll be a couple more days of PAX content, and then I shall go back to my usual MMO and review self that I am. But yeah, that'll do it for today, I think. So we are here. Let's check Basil. Let's see what Basil's got for sale. I know I'm over the half-hour mark, so I really shouldn't be faffing around with Basil, but he might have something. He's got nothing for sale. God damn you, Basil. So yes, there we go, that'll do it. So as I say, leave questions in the comments below, because obviously those are really, really useful for me. That will give me things to talk about next week, and we will have a fun and interesting show. It'll be wonderful, and everything will be great, and I will give you a mini shout out for sending me the questions. I will mention your name in the video, and you will be famous, YouTube famous. And if you wish to support me on Patreon, don't forget to check out my Patreon campaign. For now that I am unemployed, I guess I need people's support again, because once I got the job, I was just about contemplating ending that, and now I'm like, now I actually do need money. Crap. Alright, so yeah, Patreon carries on as usual, but there you go. So yes, thank you very much for watching. I have been Meroka. Leave me questions in the comments, and I shall see you next week.